Hey everyone, welcome back to BikeBeat. Today we're going big, really big, because we're talking about one of the most exciting motorcycles of this decade, a machine that has already sent shockwaves across the biking community before it has even officially hit showroom floors. I'm talking about the 2026 Yamaha RD500LC V4. That name alone is enough to stir up nostalgia, arguments, dreams, and debates, because it connects straight back to one of Yamaha's most iconic and daring projects of the 80s. The RD500LC was never just another bike. It was a statement, a rebellion, and for a lot of riders it represented the closest you could get to a genuine GP machine for the road. Now Yamaha is promising to bring that experience back, and the idea of reviving such a cult motorcycle in a modern world of emission standards, electronics, and four-stroke dominance is something almost nobody thought would actually happen. Yet here we are, and if the rumors, leaks, and concept previews are to be believed, this bike could be one of the most talked about motorcycles of the 2020s. So, why is this revival so significant? To answer that, let's rewind a bit. The original RD500LC came out in 1984, also known as the RZ500 in some markets. It was a liquid-cooled, two-stroke, 499 cubic centimeters V4 with Yamaha's YPVS power valve system. What set it apart wasn't just the engine layout, but the fact that it was built to mimic Yamaha's GP machines of the time. Riders could buy one, ride it to work during the week, and on the weekend feel like they were piloting a scaled-down version of Kenny Roberts' race bike. It produced about 88 horsepower, weighed around 200 kilos, and had a reputation for a wild, exhilarating power band that rewarded riders who knew how to handle a two-stroke. The bike only lasted a few years, partly because of tightening emissions rules and the general decline of two-stroke technology in road-going motorcycles. But for the decades since, the RD500LC has lived on in myth, on collector auction blocks, in garages where owners pamper them like jewels, and in forums where enthusiasts begged Yamaha to bring it back. Fast forward to 2026, and Yamaha seems to have listened. The new RD500LC V4 is rumored to carry a 500 cubic centimeters two-stroke V4 engine, tuned with modern technology to meet Euro 5 emission standards. Think about that for a second. A two-stroke that is legal in Europe in the mid-2020s. That in itself is revolutionary. Rumored output is around 160 horsepower, almost double what the original offered, and a wet weight of about 180 kilos. Do the math and you get a power-to-weight ratio that rivals some of today's litre-class superbikes, but with the insane responsiveness and lightness that only a two-stroke can deliver. That's the promise Yamaha is teasing here, not just power, but character. Now, let's talk about how this bike is expected to feel. A two-stroke V4 revs fast and hard. Unlike a four-stroke, it doesn't rely on heavy valve train components. It's lighter, snappier, and delivers that explosive mid-range kick when the power valve opens. Modern fuel injection and electronic exhaust management will tame some of the rough edges, making it less of an on-off switch than the bikes of old, but Yamaha knows it can't completely neuter that behavior. The charm of the RD has always been in that sudden rush, that moment when everything comes alive and the bike seems to leap forward with a ferocity that catches your breath. Riders are expecting that, and if Yamaha can balance rawness with manageability through ride modes, traction control, and well-mapped fuel delivery, it could create something magical, a bike that's as thrilling as the old one but less likely to throw you into the weeds if you sneeze at the throttle. Chassis-wise, everything points to a modern twin-spar aluminum frame. Expect fully adjustable USD forks at the front, a multi-link rear shock, and geometry tuned for sharp handling without being unrideable on the street. The braking system will almost certainly feature large discs with radial-mounted calipers, and cornering ABS is a safe bet. Yamaha isn't going to release a flagship revival without the safety net of modern electronics, so we can anticipate multiple ride modes, adjustable traction control, possibly slide control, and launch control. The dash will be a full-color TFT with Yamaha's ride control interface, maybe even smartphone connectivity and data logging for track use. Lighting will be full LED, with an aggressive headlight design to make sure you know this is no retro toy, this is a modern sport bike. Styling is another area where Yamaha has to walk a fine line. Enthusiasts want the bike to look like an RD, but Yamaha also needs to appeal to new riders and fit within its current design language. Expect cues from the original, the twin tailpipes, the narrow waist, and the distinctive fairing lines, but smoothed and sharpened with modern aerodynamic features. Rumors suggest subtle winglets integrated into the fairing, not overdone but effective. Expect bodywork that channels air over the rider, into the radiator, and around the exhausts, because two-strokes generate heat and Yamaha has to manage that. Colors will probably include a heritage red and white racing livery, maybe a blue version, and potentially a blacked-out stealth edition for modern tastes. One thing's for sure, when you see it, you'll know it's an RD. Now let's address the price. £15,000 is the figure floating around in Europe, and that would position it as a premium bike but not outrageously so compared to litre-class superbikes. In the US, with exchange rates and taxes, you might be looking at around $20,000. In markets with heavy import duties, like South Asia, prices could climb significantly, possibly putting it into collector-only territory. The point is, Yamaha isn't pitching this as an affordable daily rider. This is a passion project aimed at enthusiasts who value exclusivity and the thrill of something different. So what makes it truly unique? First, it's the only modern two-stroke sport bike of this scale. Nobody else is offering a street-legal 500 cubic centimeters V4 two-stroke with modern electronics. Second, it blends heritage with new tech in a way few bikes do. This isn't just retro paint on a generic platform, it's a genuine continuation of the RD legacy. Third, the performance numbers, if they hold true, put it in a league of its own. A 160 horsepower two-stroke at 180 kilos is a recipe for excitement that no four-stroke middleweight can replicate. Finally, the exclusivity factor is off the charts. This bike will be rare, collectible, and for many, a dream machine. Of course, there are drawbacks. Maintenance will be higher than a four-stroke. Fuel economy will be worse. Heat from the exhausts could be uncomfortable. Reliability remains a question mark until real-world tests are done. And let's be honest, emission systems might blunt some of the rawness people expect. But if Yamaha gets the balance right, these compromises could be minor compared to the rewards. So where does that leave us? In my view, if Yamaha delivers even close to the rumored specs, the 2026 RD500LC V4 will be one of the most exciting motorcycles of this decade. It represents something rare. A manufacturer listening to its fans and reviving not just a name, but a spirit. For collectors, it's a must-have. For riders who crave excitement, it's a dream. For everyone else, it's at least a reason to smile, knowing that in a world of conformity and regulation, there's still room for wild, two-stroke brilliance. That's my deep dive into the 2026 Yamaha RD500LC V4. Would you buy one? Would you ride it hard on weekends, or keep it as a crown jewel in your garage? And what compromises would you accept for the privilege of owning a modern two-stroke legend? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash the like button if you enjoyed this breakdown, and don't forget to subscribe to BikeBeat for more explorations into the bikes that define our passion. Until next time, ride safe, ride fast, and never stop dreaming about the sound of a two-stroke on the pipe.